I served on the space station of Mimas as a liaison for the Earth Embassy, working with many alien races.
Jean-Charles Moyen, Franco-American SSP, aboard the Solaris spaceship, a part of the Solar Warden. My mission, protection and rescue slaves on other planets.
Rebecca Rose, Psychic Super Soldier, Moon, Mars, Kuiper Belt, and beyond.
Namaste. I'm Yana Prakash. I am a multidimensional healer, work directly with the Andromeda Council, and infinite creations through the oneness with all that it is.
We know if you won't tell them the truth, we will. Hi, I'm James Rink, founder of the Super Soldier Talk podcast, Healing Soul Survivors 501c3, and now the Super Soldier Activation Conference. Since 2010, I have dedicated myself to documenting the untold stories of the secret space program. I have brought awareness of my labs, also known as military abductions, MK Ultra, Monarch, and Montauk programming. Join us for the 2025 Super Soldier Activation Conference in Orlando, Florida, from October 8th to the 12th. Experience 4 days of groundbreaking discussions with over 25 courageous secret space program veterans. Choose General Admission, VIP Silver, or VIP Gold tickets on your journey into hidden truths. Secure your spot now at supersoldiercon.com.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Super Soldier Talk. I'm your host, James Rink. I served in a secret space program for 330 years, and today is not about that. So today we have Sherri Mullinax. Sherri, how are you doing today? Why don't you unmute yourself? There you go. You click on mute.
That's great. I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. So I just want to apologize for being a little late. We had time zone mix-ups.
Yeah.
Now, I thought you were in North Carolina, so then that's why I assumed. But I guess nowadays you just can't assume anymore. You just can't.
Well, I've been on the go from place to place for about 2.5 years now, so it's been interesting.
Great, and I would love to hear that story. I'm sure the audience will love to hear that story. And so, audience members, thank you for also joining us here today. Sage, thank you for that. Join your fellow comrades at the Super Soldier Activation Conference. So go to supersoldiercon.com, purchase a ticket. We have Old World Cryptids Carolina. What's up, family? North Carolina here too. All of us, we have our roots back here in the old North State, as they say. Okay. Today I want to introduce you to Sherri Mullinax. She is the founder of Target You, a program created to help targeted individuals understand the reality of organized targeting and covert operations against innocent people. Through Target You, Sherri has uncovered disturbing evidence connecting mass human trafficking, microchipping, and the illegal use of frequencies for powerful corporations such as Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, Disney as well, some others. Sherri's awakening to these programs began after a traumatic event in Cobb County, Georgia, when she was arrested while trying to report a life-threatening situation involving an explosive planted in her home. She was raised in Duluth, Georgia, and later moved to Mississippi. Sherri's life took a dark turn after enduring domestic struggles and reconnecting with old high school acquaintances. Joseph Preston Morgan. Okay. It was years later that she discovered he had been intentionally placed in her life as part of a plot against her. That's what we call a handler, right, Sherri?
Right. MK Ultra.
A sleeper.
Correct.
Her investigations revealed deep ties between her own family and high-ranking officials within the Department of Defense, Lockheed Martin, these are all cabal organizations, Department of State, and NASA. Even more shocking, she uncovered that her own biological brother, Todd Mullinax, had been murdered 25 years earlier. A death was made to appear accidental. As Sherri began piecing together the truth, she found herself facing relentless harassment, betrayals, hackings, and life-threatening attacks. She documented sightings of UAPs, portals, and unexplained phenomenon while working on a major research project. During this time, she discovered that she had been illegally implanted with microchips since a child. following 9 surgeries on her hands linked to a known operative involved in ritual abuse networks. Her story connects to some of the biggest names in the government, aerospace, and defense, exposing how alien technology has been reverse engineered and weaponized against the public by covert programs within NASA. I would say probably the planetary corporations more. NASA is like the bottom of the rung. Lockheed Martin, DoD, like DARPA is also the bottom of the rung as far as what you would call the deep state. Despite enduring unimaginable hardships, Sherri remains committed to exposing these crimes and fighting for justice, not only for herself, but for countless others affected by these hidden crimes. Her work and testimony stand as critical evidence that our institutions have been infiltrated for decades. Through her courage and relentless pursuit of the truth, Sherri continues to shine a light on the darkest corners of corruption and human exploitation. You can follow. Oh, yes, I got your email address in there. If that's okay. All right. Sorry, Richard Bruce's. I'll fix
that all the time switches though.
How did that sound, Sherri?
That sounds great. You did a great job. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
That was very good. Very good.
Okay. What did I miss?
I think you covered most of it. 90% of it.
So why don't you tell the listeners, give us like a brief summary of what you're going to share here today.
Well, I want to shine a light on the illegal implantation. I think I had sent you a scan of my report. I wanted to shine a light on the illegal implantation of MK Ultra victims. Some newer, some had been put in while they were young, like myself. And the reason and the way we're able to find out if they're newer or older is from the corrosiveness of them. Once you're scanned, it will show the percentage of corrosiveness. Like I have 3 corrosive in me, 50, 75, and 40%, maybe 45% in a couple of them. And so my scan was from last June, so they're probably more corrosive now, unfortunately. And that's been a dire need of most of us, or we're looking to see who and where we can get these things removed. And of course, seek retribution. But we've been talking about it a lot. There has been quite a few people that have joined our, cause, and they've been going out and exposing this, but not without, retaliation from, the powers that be. And we've been trying to help people get out of jail, get out of mental health hospitals. They're literally coming. So, but we have some hope now than we had previous to January 20th. But we're trying to help get our ducks in a row where we can have our day in court. So,
thank you. Well, so how about we go ahead and share a brief story how we met.
Oh, perfect. That's great.
Do you want me to share the story? Or are you going to do it?
Please, you do a great job. Go ahead.
Okay, so I went to the inauguration and in DC, so that was January 20th, right? And I made the announcement, and I guess either you or someone that you knew heard about it.
Right. My friend Krista, yes.
Okay. And then next thing you know, we all get to meet up together. And then it was the whole trip to DC was mostly we stayed inside because it was so cold. I think
cold.
It was like it got down to 7 degrees. That's Fahrenheit for our, yeah. But outside the United States, I don't know how cold that is. So somebody can put the conversion there. But so yeah, we hung out together by the oven in this small Airbnb. It was so cold. We had to turn the oven. It had this little tiny oven.
You were curled up on the kitchen floor of the oven.
Sure, I got sick.
It's okay if nobody would have went to jail, but we can't say no.
Yeah, we didn't have to go to jail, but I was so happy to get out of that city. But yeah, so anyway, so we met up, and then I met your friend. Autumn. Autumn. That was guys. Yes, Autumn. So Autumn was scheduled to come on here last week, and you want to tell the audience members what happened.
Well, she also is MK Ultra, is implanted by her family and for inheritance purposes, but we haven't really delved deep into her, people, her connections, I should say, because it takes a while for you to really make the dots, and and where everybody like joins up. This is how this program works, but she got really, really sick, and I was really worried about her. And I told her, I said, okay, if you're not better tomorrow, we're going to the hospital. And, as targets and as MK Ultra victims, the last thing we want to do is go to the hospital, because that's a very dangerous place to be, especially right now. And sure enough, in the middle of the night, they gave her a blood transfusion. She's she's RH negative, and they gave her RH positive. So we're praying that she pulls out of that. But there's been some other things that they did to her that is very unlikely that would have happened without being on purpose, kind of thing. So if you guys can help it, and if you're not, if you feel like you're a target or a super soldier or any type of government target, I guess you'd say, going to the hospital is not the greatest thing. So we're praying for her, though.
Okay. Yeah, let's just some positive energy to Autumn. We see her blood type transmuting back to RH negative, all the O factors, using our power of telekinesis. We convert the factors, in her blood to O negative, and
Right.
and also her health and vitality are restored back to her, and she's in perfect health, and she's out there talking on the circuit again, and sharing her story and experiences. Great. Okay.
Yeah, my phone was ringing. I didn't know how to, because it has this Google number and it goes to my phone. So I'm like, how do I turn that off?
Is that Autumn calling?
Oh, I have no idea.
Hello, Autumn. Okay. Great. So, with that said, we were going to do a one-on-one interview, but I wasn't in the best health. So here we are a couple
I
months
know.
later.
And I'm glad to see you look much better than that coldness that we were around in Washington.
Yes. I'm from the South. We're not used to that type of cold.
It was so cold. I mean, it really was. But I'm lucky that we're able to get together and go over some more different I guess programs that were in on the MK Ultra Monarch program. I'm pretty new to this, to be completely honest with you. I started recognizing something was not right, like 2.5 years ago. So I've had to learn a lot and dive deep into this thing. So I've had to do a lot of crunch studying, because you guys, like, I'm sure that you've been in this for how many years?
My first video called Super Soldier Talk started in 2010, in March of 2010. However, I started a little bit earlier than that, but with my Changes on the Horizon documentary and so on. But yeah, it's been about 15, maybe 20 years since my awakening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I've had to learn, what you guys have learned in 15, 20 years, and try to, eat it all up and try to learn this technology, because previous to me learning that I was MK Ultra, like a year previous, I started getting a lot of paranormal UAP stuff in my all my outside video cameras and my cell phones and all that, and I was capturing aliens and spaceships and so many paranormal type of stuff. I don't know if I told you this when you were in Washington, about the day that I was walking across the road and I looked up and there was like a volleyball size silver ball, just two of them, one here and one here, just doing this in the middle. They are surveilling me, like right above the lights. And I was like, it was very scary. But for like 8 months, all I was doing was delving into the UAP paranormal to see what in the world I was dealing with. And well, come to find out, I was actually, I was putting together it was called revelationmessages.com. So I was going to be exposing it that way. And it was actually supposed to help, I was kind of using it as a marketing technique to, help boost my business a little bit. So, well, that didn't work because I didn't know I was part of some kind of program that they weren't going to let that happen. and it was very scary. So, but I learned a lot while I was, delving into that. But now I understand why I have these. I still have them following me, by the way, and I have. I don't know if I ever did. I let you. I heard. I don't know if I'll let you hear the recording on my phone that night with the alien entity voice that came in on my car radio when I was driving like 80 miles an hour down the road in Atlanta. It was, so I have a lot of that around me, but like I said, I wasn't familiar with it. But then after what brought it to my attention was that the guy that I've known since high school, who reconnected with on Facebook, and we just, and eventually we got together, and we were together 7 years. And he walked out the door one day, never saying a word, and then it just all came down on me. And it was, if they hadn't gotten him in my life, where I would have known him since high school, I would have never went back. I wouldn't have went down that rabbit hole. I don't think. Maybe I would have, but I don't know, because he was very clever, very he is definitely MK Ultra. His mom was stationed at Shriver Air Force Base. She was at the in the Air Force at Shriver, where this technology is very prevalent. Previous to him, my ex-husband, who I was together with 15 years, his father produced the moon landing photos for NASA for 15 years. I think he was there for like 40 years. And previous to that, I dated a guy whose dad was a lawyer for the Air Force that worked for the Pentagon. And before that, my first boyfriend I had for 5 years that we became engaged, his dad was a 33-degree Mason and was a commercial pilot for Delta. So I started putting all these dots together, and I was like, holy mo. And then, of course, as you well know, when you start digging through like MK Ultra and the companies connected and all the programs, and it just, everything just started coming together. Like, it was scary how it came together, but I'm glad it did come together, but it's still scary.
Thank you. Let's go back to, you want to start with maybe your brother? What do you think of?
That was 1990. So,
Yeah.
well, his wife that I'd introduced him to by me working for a marketing company that was actually like a cover for, the mafia. To be honest with you, I was there for like 20 years, and I didn't really know this because I was like one of the little slave girls that did all the, the office work, and they had their own, party girls that they, went off when they did their own thing with. And so I realized that his accident, that when he actually fell off the roof of his house that he was building, and he had spent 2 years building his home. The same guys that was there with him when he fell off the roof was one of the same guys that I almost died. He took me to Mexico a year prior to this, and I should have died in Mexico. He took me to Mexico, and it was a bad scene, but I should have died. And then I put that together, and then I thought, well, I need to call this other guy that was with him, and he gives me a totally different story about how my brother fell off the roof. And so then I knew that I was on the right track, and then that was not an accident. But we had half siblings that were 20 years to our elder, and always had this like, black sheep type of, attitude towards us. So we kind of, never were real close with our half siblings. And come to find out, they're the ones that put us in this program. One of my sisters was an employee for Lockheed Martin and worked in top secret department for Marietta Lockheed for over 40 years. And then she went to work for Georgia Tech Research Institute right after that. And one of my other sisters, she worked at the Department of Agriculture for the state of Florida. She ran the whole HR department for the whole state. And then my cousin, he's my first cousin, whose mom actually was with the heir of DuPont. And I think this is where it kind of originated from, other than I think she and my uncle, my uncle was a tool and die expert for General Electric, but my aunt, she got together with an heir of DuPont, which I think that's where, the MK Ultra thing started. And I think that's where we became a project. And when I was 15 months old, I was at a babysitter's house. Long story short, I had to have 9 plastic surgeries on my hand because the babysitter left me, and I have an implant in my hand. So, and it's 50% corrosive. So it's been there all my life, obviously.
Well, I would like to hear more about the implants, but how about we go back to your self awakening? Because there was a point in your life that you were living in the matrix. You were actually very successful. And then what happened, Sherri?
Well, I found people that were in my home trying to murder me, and I wasn't getting any help from the police departments, the FBI, whoever I went to. I never got any help. And when I was tipped off from the clues that my handler left behind for in all his notebooks that he left in my storeroom, because I knew something was up in my storeroom. So I went digging. And when I started digging, I started reading all these notebooks that he had been writing by hand. And it tipped me off that there was an explosive in my home somewhere. I didn't know where, but I knew that from what he was saying, like little clues that he was leaving, that, and it wasn't very easy to find clues. It was very, covert. And but I guess when you're with someone for that long, you kind of know how to read them, and I was like, why would he write about this? I mean, why would he say, you leave me a card with an explosion on it and say, it was a birthday card, and it would say, to someone that's never going to grow older. And I thought, I've never seen this card ever. I mean, it was just real, like, faint little. And what they were trying to get me to do is call the police, and then I would start looking like I had lost my mind or something. And that's why I stopped calling the police, because every day they literally they were stealing my cars. They were doing all these things to my neighbors and stuff, were doing all this stuff to me to make me call the police. And after my car got stolen, and I realized that the girl that was supposed to be helping me and me helping her, that were staying with me, and I didn't really know her all that well. I knew her daughter pretty well because her daughter had worked with me, but she was an estranged mother. And it was just, one of those book stories. And I realized that she didn't make too much of a big deal about my car getting stolen by her daughter's boyfriend. And I tested her, and then she let me know from me testing her that she was involved. And I started watching her, and she was poisoning my drinks. Every time I watched her poisoning my drinks, and I was like, she's trying to kill me. So, and for like 2 weeks, I was feeling like my heart was palpitating like never before. I mean, it was just like 200 miles a minute. It was, but I thought it was like because of the stress that I was under. So I didn't give it much thought. And then I realized what she was doing, and I thought it was maybe like some kind of like amphetamine type of stuff or something that would speed your heart up. And I'm a hyper person anyway, so I was like, okay, so I thought she was drugging me that way. I didn't know. And I've come to find out later that it was that she was overdosing me on azithromycin, which will cause you to have a cardiac arrest and liver failure, and so. But when I found that she was trying to murder me, I didn't really let her know that I knew she was trying to murder me, because I had already had experience with the police trying to report other things, and no one was helping me. So I knew there was something way wrong. Like, now I knew that there was probably a group of people going to the police and giving me a false image projection to the police. So, and I knew there was like 3 or 4 people behind her, and it would go on and on and on, because this was a very small community. And sure enough, I decided I needed to leave because I was not safe. So I did. I left my own home, paid for home, business, everything that I had worked all my life for, thinking as long as I could get out of here, I could probably go try to find some help. Lo and behold, I went to Atlanta to try to get some help from a former congressman that actually had a law firm there. And previous to him being a congressman, he had a law firm, and now that he's not a congressman anymore, he still had a law firm. And I went to him and tried to get help reporting that there was an explosive device in my home, and I was able to find it was in my tanning bed and in every camper that I had. And then they arrested me. But they dropped the charges because they knew that they couldn't make them stick, because I had too much evidence that, I was trying to get an investigation. never received an investigation. And the lawyer that I went to, about probably like 6 months later, he became the president of the NRA. So I thought that was interesting.
Wow. So they were trying to call you crazy. Did they try to put you in the psych ward?
Yes, that's what they wanted me to do when I was trying. I wanted to get them. When I went before the court case, they were like, "Well, we didn't want you to have a mental evaluation." I said, "Okay, I'll have a mental evaluation, but I'm going to get one myself. I'm going to pick the person to get." And I had two. And after I gave them two, they didn't think that I was going to be able to get one. I don't think, but I had two mental evaluations, and they both said it was PTSD. And when I sent those in, they were like, "Oh, no, 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 we can't accept these. We have to have our own." I went, "I tell you what, this is against my religion. And you were the one forcing this on me, and I did not want to do it anyway. I gave you what you need, and I'm going to tell you, if I have to go to the police, if I have to go to court, I'm going to have every podcaster there that I know to reporting that a single mother of two children was trying to report a bomb, never got an investigation, and got arrested for it. See how that looks." And do you know they dropped it? After I said that, they dropped it.
Wow. Do you have any information on who you think planted that bomb?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, can you tell us?
What company? Or I mean, because there's a lot of people that were involved in it.
Okay, so it was like a group of people connected. Okay, so well, sorry, we were getting a little
A big group.
Okay.
My life is in danger since I left. I mean, I've already had my life attempted six times while I've been gone with poison, and different people trying to infiltrate themselves in my life. So I had to be really careful who I got involved around me. And
yeah, Sherri, I had a lady, what's her name? Susan Martin, way back in the day. One of the first interviews I did. Her husband worked for the FBI, and it was in their dead file because the guy was so evil. They just pulled him up when they needed to do like hit pieces. So she started doing chelation and like bentonite clay, and she was taking internally. And she would wake up in the morning and there was mercury in the toilet. And she would comment to her husband that, apparently the guy was opening up thermometers, dumping it in her mouth. So yeah, while she was sleeping. So I mean, yeah, she did finally divorce that guy, and she got out of Phoenix with her, for still alive. But so this targeting thing definitely seems like there is something to it. These targeted individuals. Now, tell me, as you were talking, I was thinking about possibly getting everybody's stories together, and you can create like screenwrites and do like a script for the Nighttime Movie Network.
that would be wonderful.
I know that
Yes.
stories could get put out there because this sounds like something people need to know about. What they did, what happened with you, and it's ongoing till even to this day, right? You're still on the run,
Yes.
correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what happened to your business? Now you were
still out there, but I mean, I can't work it. They have me hacked. They have me. What they were doing, they were running human trafficking under it.
okay. Yeah, I can't say that word here because UT works for them.
I'm
But
sorry.
but it's all right. The cat's out of the bag. We all know the truth. So yeah, just use key to code words.
This is a very covert operation that has been. I've found myself in hotspots, and that's what I was told by an intelligence officer that knows about MK Ultra Monarch. That he said what they do is they set up these hotspots of people, your neighbors, everybody in your community is involved. And I know that sounds very out there, but he says this is how they do it, and they know it sounds out there, so they're able to do it because they have all the funding that they need to be able to do it. And when you have $10.6 billion riding on one person, then because they've made us a commodity, guys, they've used us as slush funds. That's why they target you. They're not targeting you just for the fun of it. They're making money off of people. They're making money off of the implants, the frequencies, at least in the frequencies to the FCC. And then they have a slush fund that's running under some kind of NGO. I found mine to be Department of Agriculture, but one social with all these illegal immigrants coming in can be worth $1.6 trillion. Are
you talking about the Sescu Trust based out of the Vatican off your birth certificate bond?
No, what they do is they take one social security number and they get like 10,000 or more illegal aliens using that one number. Well, the IRS turns a blind eye to the number and the name matchup, and then what they do is they collect all the taxes from that social, and it just rides up in a slush fund.
Okay. Well, wow. So let's talk about the actual implants. You say you have evidence. Do you want me to pull
Sure.
up this document here?
Yes.
Yes. Do you want me to do the AAA security one?
Yes, that's the one. That's the only one I have.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And you can just like scroll it down past the,
Yeah. Okay. Maybe make this a little bigger. So
you can go past all that, and then I can show. Okay, so we can say that the findings is it's done with a spectrum analyzer, and it's all this equipment, this non-linear junction scans are done with counter espionage equipment. So you can go past the email and all that stuff. My phone number. That's all old stuff.
So you're talking about the Stingray technology that the military can use on a bunch of cell phones. Just grab everybody's phone numbers.
Well, you can scroll past this, James. Like, yeah.
Okay.
Especially that. I've been up for 48 hours on that one.
You look fine. What are you talking about?
No, it's not. I was literally up for 48 hours when I walked in there. I was exhausted. It was, look, they try to do everything in their power to stop me from going to getting these scans, and I was not going to let it do it. I was not going to let them have it. So you can scroll past that, and I'm going to get to where it shows the numbers.
Right here?
Yes, and if you can you zoom out where you can see the whole sheet? Okay.
Yeah, if I zoom out, you want like this?
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so these these are the locations of each implant. And this is the numbers beside it is how much frequency is coming out of it, and then the next number, which I don't know what happened to it on this sheet because it's normally listed beside it. It would say the corrosiveness of it. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not. I don't see the corrosive part.
Yeah.
Did I go too far? No.
Nope. Go right there. But then the first where the nude bodies thing is the little diagram of the
Sure.
grid.
Maybe next time you come on here, you could do a little PowerPoint.
Okay. Well,
we'll take your word for it.
I was just going to show you that
going on here,
right?
10%. Well, what's 10%? So that's the corrosive.
Okay, so the 10% is the amount of frequency coming out, and then when it has two numbers, like that's the one beside in the hand, it says it has 40%. That's the corrosiveness of it, and then anyway. So we'll just figure out. I don't know why it did that. I sent you the right scan, I thought, but anyway, if you go down, you'll see the body. It's right there. So I'm not real sure why you're not seeing the red dots where they're located, because that's kind of weird. Anyway, the red areas are where I'm having the most radiation coming out of my body. Anyhow, where the heat's coming out. But anyway, this scan is it's court admissible, and the guy will go to court for you. And I think that if you're MK Ultra, or if you have any type of targeting problem or any of that, you definitely need to go and get scanned and to confirm that you are implanted.
Because this scan isn't just infrared. It's not going to just show the temperatures. It also scans the frequency spectrum, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And then you can trace those frequencies directly to who has those licenses on you.
Yeah, through the FCC, right? You've actually done that. You found a database where these frequencies are listed with the FCC, and those frequencies showed what? Who owned these frequencies?
I had many, but who was directly into like getting the licenses and like invading my privacy was more on the entertainment, like ABC, CBS, Hearst Media, Disney, those sort of things. Now, most people are going to find Raytheon, Boeing, Lockheed, all those in your frequencies anyway, because those are the manufacturers. Those are the ones that are, you know, using these and being able. And what they do is they sell those frequencies to the media, communications company, drone companies, military companies, aviation. So they use your frequencies. Like if you go right here, it says, if you scan down just a hair past this black box, if you go down, it has a grid, and then it says all signals are baseline, and it says that my frequency is at 2.48 gigahertz with a magnitude of 33 dBm, and is only present during the PN function. But this right here says my frequency is designed as an S band and is also used for GPS so they can track me, and then two-way communications and some satellite communications. Now, I have several people that have been scanned, and I have seen some really odd scans. There was one the other day I saw that they were using it for microwave frequency weapons, and it was so you would be surprised on what your frequency ranges are and who uses them. But the 2.48 is not mega high, but you will see some people who are getting fried, like with V2K, and we have one child that has two implants in him, and he's a nonverbal autism child, and he screams. He just screams and holds his ears and he can't even hardly stand it. But he's at 9 point something gigahertz, and that's literally as high as the microwave oven. They're literally frying him. So it does. The lower the frequency, like mine's pretty high because I've seen them as low as like 11 megahertz. So I'm in the gigahertz, but I have seen them go up to 9 gigahertz.
Wow. So basically, what this shows is that perhaps all of us are implanted, and that these implants are bringing frequencies into our body that's affecting us in a subconscious manner. Is that what you would ascertain from this data?
I wouldn't say quite everyone, because I mean that's kind of stretching it, but definitely if you feel like you've been, if you're targeted by any kind of technologies, um, alien otherwise, I would, they found that there's a lot of people who have implants that, are not human. There are the alien implants as well that has been confirmed.
Have you actually witnessed any kind of rod-shaped objects in your or felt anything move around, or any physical evidence
Like
other than just
like a vibration, almost like how sometimes your muscles will like vibrate a little bit, or one little area will like twitch. That I've felt that in some areas, yes.
okay, because I have a rod in my earlobe. Actually, it's this one of these earlobes. This one. Oh, it's right. It's in this one right here. It's right.
Is it right in the crease?
Yes, I know.
That's where they normally implant them.
Right down in here, right in this area. There, but so do you have any like a rod or something like that?
I don't feel a rod. Mine are going to be a little bit bigger because mine's older. My daughter, when she was born, she had a little. I thought it was like a node or something behind her ear. It looked like, and I took her in to have an operation to get it removed at 6 months old, and I'm pretty sure they actually implanted her. And my other child, my oldest, she has Asperger's, and she wasn't breathing for like 3 minutes when she was born. I didn't see her for 8 hours after she was born, and I know she's implanted. I know she is. She hasn't had a scan done yet, but I'm definitely going to be getting her scan when I get a chance.
Okay, so basically we've learned that
Sherri's family has ties with deep state corporations, and that somehow she's brought in as a target in all this. But then there's also this other layer where that there's a possible extraterrestrial involvement, where maybe what's going on here on the surface is just to try to keep you busy and distracted what's going off world. And what have you ever if you don't feel comfortable answering this question, you don't have to. Have you ever miscarried? And
and I had a child between my two daughters now, and his name was Jonah, and he came early at 20 weeks, and he lived 2.5 weeks, and so all this has been satanic ritual abuse along with it. It kind of all overlaps: the satanic ritual abuse, the UAP, as well as the MK Ultra. It all like meshes together.
have you ever witnessed any kind of orbs or kind of any extraterrestrials showing up in your room as a kid? Yes.
Not as a kid, no,
Okay.
but I have to be honest with you about that. I don't remember much of anything as a kid.
That was my next question. Do you have any missing time as a child?
My whole childhood, I mean, I can remember bits and very little pieces about, I mean, literally like 10 things from like, you know, as young as you remember something to like 12. And I thought that was always odd that I couldn't remember hardly anything.
How about the age of 6 to 7? Do you have any memories?
Not
That's
when
usually.
they amputated my toe when I was 7.
Do
And
you remember that?
oh yes, I mean
Okay,
that
right,
was
right.
so I can remember like um horrific stuff like trauma. I can remember trauma, and that was it. Some trauma, but I
Okay.
remember that
All
because that
right.
was trauma.
Do you ever get any kind of laser marks, needle marks, scoop marks,
No,
injections, lasers marks? Okay. Yeah, that's a clear sign.
I've seen lasers, not with my eyes, but with in my videos. I mean, plain as day. I still have the videos. I still have the pictures. Definitely around me. Energy all the time. Plasma, some type of plasma, infrasound stuff that I believe is around me
Hmm.
at all times.
Okay. How about we go back to your business? So you had this successful business, and then what happened next?
Well, I was just about to put the finishing touches on my website that would have made millions of dollars. And an online business. It was called buildingsandcarports.com, and had 3 locations, 2 in Louisiana and 1 in Mississippi. And I was doing fairly well. And the previous year to this, and now I'm thinking maybe that this is where they were going to actually, do what they did to me, just recently. But he had a car wreck and he broke his neck, and I think that put a halt to what they were going to do, and so he had to stay around a little bit longer. And this is what I'm just thinking this, but he tried to kill me several times, and so it wasn't just this this certain time where he just walked out the door. No, he ran my head into a bridge, and the ambulance told me that they had to take me to another hospital because it was a bomb threat. And I mean, it's all recorded. It's all, provable. So, and there's been several times that, I figured, my life was going to be coming to an end. But, God has other plans. And that's
Yeah,
really the only reason why I can say I'm still alive, because
yeah,
God.
yeah, Sherry. But I want to hear more specifically related. I mean, do you not want to talk about it? Like,
uh,
because you said like, oh, they took over my website. Next thing I know, they
oh,
were.
yeah. So,
And then you
so,
went to the police.
so
Yeah,
I had
I want to hear those details. Yeah, go ahead.
So I had winatinyhome.com because I was doing tiny homes as well as buildings and carports. And I had been doing it for like 12 years, and I was doing really well, even without, being able to sell them on my own website. And I had a marketing plan that was actually set up to be making like $247,000 a day. And so, before any of that ever happened, this happened. So So I figured it was either my
Yeah.
life or try to sit there and try to fight it by myself. So I figured, I better, be
Okay.
smart.
So, but then the next day you complained to the police, and what happened?
Oh, nothing. Nothing happened. That's why I left.
They didn't do anything. They didn't recognize you as the owner of the business.
I told them I was that they had hacked me. I can't get back in any of my accounts. I can't do anything. They totally controlled me. And then as time went on, because I was there for like a month and a half, trying to figure everything out. And now I realized they had me on a separate network. They can control everything. They could control everything I did, and did a good job of it.
Okay. Wow, Sherri. So, what else would you like to share today?
Well, I don't know. What else do you want to know?
Well, how about you share some information about? We already went over the frequencies, but where did you get that done, and how can people get that done as well? The scan.
Well, I would tell you, because I really don't like to announce it, on a public platform, because I don't know if that's something that he doesn't want, because as you can tell, this is probably really, dangerous, touching dangerously on this subject. But you can reach out to me on Twitter, the X platform, and we do a show every Sunday night at 8:00, and we help people, get out of jail or whatever. We have a lot of guests. We have Gray from the Imagination podcast, and so he was on there last Sunday. So it was really fun. It's at the @ sign at targeting you, and it's the @ sign targeting in just the letter U, and people can come on there and send me a DM, and then ask. I can give them the information about the scans so they can go get them.
Send me the link for that. We can put that in the description so people can check it out.
Okay.
So just to clarify, you can actually do live streams on X now.
No, we just do a space. It's just a space that we do.
Oh, okay. A group.
Yeah. No, we're not set up like you.
Great. Well, so like, what are some of the types of things that people discuss in there? Like, what kind of problems that you're helping them with?
Well, for instance, we have a guy that we've been working with. His name is John Flynn, and he has been a big voice for us. He has his own little podcast thing that he does, but he's been like exposing people's stories like mine and many, many others. But he's been really helping. He's like a super soldier, like you, like helps people, be able to tell their story. And he also has a lawsuit that he started, and it's against 5G and the whole network, to be honest with you. He's in Connecticut, so he ran against Blumenthal. It's the Senate, and he can be. Oh well,
It's ridiculous. I got a strike. I have to go back
sorry.
and edit this out, but it's okay.
Go get a strike.
I'll mark the time. But go ahead, finish what you said, but be more cryptic.
Okay. Well, he got targeted by the DS, and and he went to they put him in a mental hospital. So we've been working on that, and now that we've been publicizing it everywhere, we are able to get him out, and it's going to be huge. You're going to be seeing this story for a while. It's a great story.
Oh, that's amazing. Because I had my own issue where when I woke up, when I realized that I was in these projects, I had this paralysis where I couldn't move, and this altar was trying to take me over. And what happened is I called the poison control and said, maybe something, because I was getting needle marks. I was waking up with needle marks and scoop marks. And I said, well, I think somebody's breaking into my apartment. So, they said, well, we can't help you. You have to call 911. So I said, okay. So I had to crawl to the phone, and they said that, we're going to send an ambulance out, and then this and that. Anyway, so they tested my urine and my they didn't do a blood test then, but they basically said that I was psychosomatic. So what that basically means is that
if you believe in something strong enough, it will come true. But I know the truth, and I know it was another altar of mine. And yeah, so when I got out 3 weeks later, I went to you're supposed to do ongoing therapy, right? So I went to this psychiatrist, and there was a long list of ones that you could call. And I found this one, and I asked, do you do hypnosis? I wanted to see who was abducting me because I'm getting injection marks. I wanted hypnosis. And they said, oh, yeah, sure, we'll do it. And I show up, and then the guide says, oh, well, we don't actually do that anymore. And then I said, so tell me what's going on. I said, well, I'm getting needle marks. I have this paralysis. And then I think I'm being abducted by Grays. And the next thing out of his mouth is, we're gonna make sure you have some medication before you leave. And yeah, so they gave me some Risperdal. And when I got home, I threw it in the dumpster, and I called him up and said, I'm getting a second opinion. So at that point, I realized the medical community does not support people like us that have gone through these experiences because they work for the cabal. It's all cabal. Somebody actually emailed me today, said, do you know a psychiatrist that you recommend? I'm like, what, are you trying to get on drugs? Because, psychiatrists can recommend drugs, but there's other ways of going about it, because the active ingredient of many of those pharmaceuticals is a fluoride base, so it is a chemical lobotomy, right? So you're just numbing the pain and numbing the memories and experiences. Is that really something that heals? Not really, in my opinion. But I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not providing medical advice. But what I can tell you is what I experienced. Meditation is what helped integrate a lot of the PTSD. I still got this problem. I have like the shakes from all my PTSD, and people say, well, what are you going to do? I don't know. I'm getting in a med bed, but we're doing what we can through all the trauma that we've been through. And of course, I have my meditation tools that I use to help me relax over here, the meditation cube. But
well, you reminded me of a quick story. I was doing some EMF readings around my home one night, and I was like, for some reason, it's getting really strong around my daughter's door. And she was in there sleeping. Of course, she locked the door. She was a teenager. She's like, you're not coming in my room. Anyway, I was getting nervous. And so I walked around the other side of the wall, and I had some like metal cabinets that were on the wall, and I went in like between it, and like I said, I had the EMF reader in my hand, and I was reading the numbers as I'm moving it around, and I went through that the little nook, and when I did, I'm not kidding. It sounds so out there, but I had this sharp, like it was like somebody had stuck a hot ice pick right there between the knuckles of my pinky and my ring finger. And I was like, and it whipped it shocked me all the way up to my elbow. And I was like, and when I looked, I had my eyes on the numbers on the EMF reader, and it went to like 1900 or something insanely crazy. And it scared me so bad that I called the ambulance. And everybody was like, what is wrong with you? And I said, I'm telling you, something hit me. Something like it was like I stuck my whole hand in the whole light socket. Well, the next day, sure enough, I had two, like, it almost looked like fang marks between my knuckles. It literally looked like perfect fang marks that it didn't quite puncture through the skin, but they were scratches. And I'm like, see, I'm going around my home going, see, I'm telling you, look. But the feeling that it gave me, like I felt like I thought I was going to die. That's what I thought. So yeah. But it was in midair. It was in midair when it did it. So something attacked me.
And that's what you would call a DEW, right? A directed energy weapon.
I didn't know at the time what it was.
Okay, wow. Let's go to questions from the chat. Okay. So we're having a great turnout here today. Lots of great feedback. Thank you all. So someone is asking about copper bottle water. Yes, I actually have one. So I would say I can't say either way. Why don't you look into also incorporating iodine into your diet? I've noticed probably more of a difference when you include iodine, because we're not really getting enough iodine. So let's see here. Fox Mulder on the Fox Mulder. It can't be the X-File Fox Mulder, but Fox Mulder on the History Channel talked about heart attack gun, shoots a small frozen spikes. It's like a frog venom or something like that, or snake venom, and then it causes heart attacks. Now we actually had a guy on here, Ben Murphy. How many people in the chat remember Ben Murphy? But he was working with Heather Anderson with the Heather material from the underground facility, and actually just it's in Orlando, actually, that one. So where they were reanimating dead Iraqi soldiers and converting them to super soldiers. So, and Ben Murphy had a flechette in his heart. Someone shot him with a little tiny, like a metal piece, and was slowly cutting him up in the inside. And because he was from the UK, he didn't qualify for any medical emergency assistance programs here in the U.S. And we tried to raise some money. I think we raised like $2,500, but it wasn't enough. And he did eventually die. So unfortunately, not all of us are able to pull through this to the finish line. But that's why we're here, right? We're going to keep pushing through so that you don't have to go through what we did. It's the whole goal. Or your children and their children.
That's right.
So, Prince Narada asks, give your guests some things that they can hit. Well, Sherri, I told you you're 15 minutes early, but it's okay. Not, a lot of this is just on the cuff here, so we're making do. And this is actually not the only interview I did today, so I apologize if we didn't get everything right. So, hey Jane from the Good Time. The Rumble channel, Super Soldier Talk on Rumble. I think they want me to post a link. Maybe Sage can do that. The link to our Rumble channel. So, and shout out to our Rumble listeners. We love you too.
Well, to be honest with you, James, you did such a great job in the introduction of everything that I went through, and I have never been on someone's channel that did such a great job as you did. You did great, really.
And what do you think of the little?
I love it.
I got that to spin. Yeah. So we have somebody to thank on Fiverr for that.
You did a really good job summarizing everything. I mean, I don't know if they wanted me to go into more of, the targeting part of it, or the,
sure. I mean, we have probably at least another 20 more minutes. If you would like to share more, we can.
Well, yeah. Well, in the Monarch program, you also have in the target community, they name them as, like game stalking, but we call it organized stalking. They have these groups that will stalk you because they're still getting paid to to harass you and to try to get you. But I've been, like I said, for like 2 years stuck in a room. When I went to Washington that time, that was very odd behavior for me, because I don't go out anywhere, because I know that. And when we were in Washington, I actually got targeted right before I ran into you. It was a weird circumstance. I was in a garage in an alley in the day of the inauguration. And so you know how busy Washington was. And there was this van of people that were these guys that were in this van. And I had told Autumn, I said, I think they're targeting us. And she just kind of glanced over there, and then we just didn't pay them any more attention and went back into the garage. Well, they come up to the garage, pull up and park, and then say, do you guys know where we can park? And we're like, I'm staying away from this. And she's like, oh, where are you guys from? And she just kind of, try to get to know them, kind of thing, to see who they were. And sure enough, they were from Mississippi, 5 miles from where I was from, Mississippi. And they were like, we're going to go meet the congressman of Mississippi at this pub down the road. And so I was like, this is not even happening. So after they leave, Autumn goes, let's go to that pub, and then we can see him and we can give him your affidavit and everything. I'm like, great idea. I never even thought of that. Get there, and the only people around the congressman and the senator are the the hoodlums that was in the van that was just in the alleyway. I was like, there's no way. So I mean, that kind of thing, it happens all the time, and it had and just I mean, at some point there's no such thing as coincidences, right?
Or would it be considered a synchronicity? Maybe you were already tuning into it psychically or subconsciously, and you knew it was
Well, I
going to
hope not. Oh, and then when the senator shook my hand, she was like, "Don't I know you? Haven't we met before?" And I was like, "Oh, that's weird," because she hadn't.
Wow. So was that after we went down to Richmond afterward? So that was
No, that
after
was
we left.
before. That was before, and then
Oh, okay.
that's actually when we were leaving the place we were
Okay.
staying at, and then we went to get the Airbnb across the river.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So question from the chat. Karen's asking, what is your blood type? If you don't mind sharing.
A negative.
Thank you. And maybe Karen could give some information on someone was asking about copper, drinking water bottles made out of copper. How does that affect the body? Okay. Sage. Oh, thank you so much for that. There's the Rumble channel there. Thank you. We have let's see, any other questions?
So we found a lot of commonalities of people that have been targeted, like with the RH negative bloodlines, as well as Cherokee Indian. Just different. There's a lot of commonalities, but we're actually doing we're taking surveys to see, how many commonalities do most targets have, and I think there's quite a bit actually.
Yeah, that's actually a good question. I'm glad you mentioned that. So are you part Cherokee? Yeah.
Part, yes.
Okay. Do you have any Celtic DNA as well?
Hmm.
Okay. Shall
I
we
have
ask?
a little Irish. I have a little Dutch. I have a little Cherokee. I'm a mud of all things. I'm hearing.
Oh yeah, that's obvious. That's usually something that they're targeting is those with Celtic and Native American, which I
Okay.
have on my mom's side.
One of the things too was they were saying if you
Yeah.
take your finger up behind your neck here, and you run and see if there's a little lump there behind it's almost like a ridge, almost like another vertebrae right there at the base of your skull. Do you see it? Do you feel it?
Yeah.
That is so weird because I have one too, and then we were like, I have one too, and
So normally people don't have this. So we're
no,
different.
they call them lump heads. And Autumn was on a interview the other day with Kevin Hoyt. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he was talking about the lump heads along with the blood type. So I haven't dived into that yet, but and I noticed one of your listeners or people on the chat were saying star seeds. I haven't. I'm not familiar with all that.
Well, the idea of a star seed is that your genetic DNA would have been manipulated in vitro and or even in vitro or in previous generations. So I don't really go into the star seed agenda too much on my channel because of I think some of this DNA is being manipulated for nefarious reasons. Not so we used to have a planetary grid to protect us from these type of abductions. What happened is it was ancient builder race technology that protected this entire system, in fact. So Tiamat decided that they wanted to backward engineer the technology. Next thing you know, the planet turned into Ceres, the little tiny asteroid of Ceres, right? So that's all that's left of it. Now we have these beings coming in, and it's not just that's just one example. Of course, I'm about to bring Jimmy Payne back on here next week. We're going to talk about the 1945. There was a portal opened up through the Bermuda Triangle, and that was connected to a SAGE radar tower in Thomasville, Georgia. So there's 12 of these SAGE radar towers, and so you're going to find out what's been coming through and why we have a Men in Black.
Well, that is weird because, as you probably well know, that Thomasville, Georgia is right down the street from Tallahassee, Florida. And that's where a lot of my targeters come from. But I actually videotaped some type of portal opening up on my property in Mississippi, and I believe that that's another reason why they came after me.
But I did say Thomasville, Alabama. I thought, okay, just want to make sure.
Oh, I thought you said Thomasville, Florida.
There's one in Georgia too. I found that out too. But it's the sage. It's now it's been
Alabama.
it's been mothballed now. But anyway, let's go. Any other questions? Has Sherri encountered any type of ETs, and which kind?
The Grays.
So is that an actual physical encounter, or it was like astral encounters? Sherri, what do you think?
Well, was videotaping the thing in the sky. It wasn't a ship, and it wasn't a star, it wasn't a drone. So there you go. And it was moving and that sort of thing. So when I brought my phone back in, because I was using the camera on my phone, I caught an entity that was on my porch, and it was completely invisible to the eye because I was on the porch. And so it was obviously on the porch with me. And so that was interesting. And then when I had a type of ghost paranormal group come out and do, because I thought at first it was some type of, demonic activity, like, big time. And so they put like cameras all over the outside of my home, all over the inside of my home. They were like measuring everything. And they actually spoke to them through like one of their spirit boxes, that they were the Grays and they were there to harvest.
Yeah, so they're basically there. Hold on a second. There are 11 types of Grays, and unfortunately, unfortunately, the ones that are having the negative encounters are a drone-like creature called a PGLF, a programmable life form, and they are used by certain hive mind factions of either tall Grays or reptilians to conduct these experiments where they would go to a male and grab a sample of their there's not to get too graphic, and then they would go to a woman and insert they had this receptacle where they would modify the sperm, and then it would go into a woman that they choose with genetically modified. So this has been going on for
Well,
quite some
one of the things I was, like I told you, with the little the silver balls floating. That was one of the things I'd seen with my eyes, as well as the triangle ship that everybody sees, the ones with the light on each point or corner. And then I saw the false image projection, the hologram. I had a hologram of 3 deer that was in front of my car when I was going about 70 down a country road, and I went right through it.
Interesting, because I've heard this story before. So they were going down a country road, and they're at the top of the hill. They can't see what's on the other side of that hill, and there's another car in the same lane, and it's driving right, and drunk driver driving right into them, and instead of dying, they phase through the car. So I think maybe
It happened. I promise you, it happened.
It seems like either your guardian angels are switching your vibration to make it partially out of this reality, or everything is just frequency, right? Didn't Nikola Tesla say that we can just change the frequency and then we can change matter, right? So
Well, this is something with a parallel universe right now as well. Do you know much about that subject?
Alternate timelines. There's fallen timelines. There are alternate dimensions, alternate realities. So as far as what is possible, I would say try not to put a limit on it.
You're right.
Once we get access to the secret space program, the next thing we could get access to is parallel reality jumping. And once you start doing that, you're going to find there's plenty in the universe to keep you busy if you're interested in exploring. Just be careful. You may not like what you find out there. Just watch the movie Aliens with the Nostromo.
I'm not affiliated with Targeted Justice, no.
Okay. Yeah, that's a question from Karen. Thank you. Alex Jones bloodline traces their genetic. No, I don't. Excuse me. The Gustav Alex Jones bloodline, traces their genetic origins to pre-Hyperborean civilization with a Nordic text called Skyborn ancestors who arrived during the Black Sea deluge event around 5600 BCE. So I think the Hyperboreans were actually Tartarians from inner Earth that came up.
Yeah.
Anyway. Okay, well, let's call it. Any other final messages, Sherri, you'd like to share?
No, I mean, just, if you guys want any more information on whether or not you guys want to, check yourself for having implants, you can reach out to me, and if you're being targeted as well.
Thank you. And so I'd like to thank the audience members for their questions here today. Thank you all for coming out here at such short notice. So also I want to mention that if you feel so inclined to do so, please donate to my nonprofit, healingsoulsurvivors.org. It'll take you over to Give Butter, so that those will help support the conference that's coming up. You can also buy a ticket to the conference. It's October 8th to the 12th, and that's supersoldiercon.com. We have VIP tickets that have food options and whatever, and also a general admission, so you can different price points. So and some people have actually commented to me, said, James, your prices are too low. So we are an early bird. I keep reminding myself to let people know. So the prices are going to be going up soon. So we want you all to take advantage of that. Okay. Also go to neologicaltech.com, purchase a copy of my book. Let's see if I can get this over here. I have my 400 pages called Lone Wolf. And I go into the secret space program. I talk about what happened during when my self-awakening experience. And while you're at it, get yourself a meditation cube to help you relax. You put this up on your pillow and meditate for, I like to meditate for 30 minutes. So
I would love to get one of those. I'm definitely going to be reaching out and getting one of your book and that.
Okay, I would love to give you one, Sherri, but I promise I only have one.
No. I'm going to support your cause because I'm so excited. You guys, you do such a great job supporting all the super soldiers, and I commend you for stepping out and doing this because it's not easy.
Thank you very much. Also, go like and subscribe. Go over to Rumble, subscribe over there, and check us out on Telegram. We have a Telegram group. We're also looking for volunteers. If you like to volunteer for the conference, we're looking for sponsors. If you'd like to help sponsor us, we'd love to talk to you. But you can also, if you'd like to be a vendor, message us as well on supersoldiercon.com and check out the Telegram group where my volunteers are over there helping us out. Okay. All right. So thank you all.
Thanks for having me, James.
Yeah. Thank you, Yvette. Thank you, Jared. Awesome. Andrea, Sage. Once again, love and light to you all. And we'll all see you later. So stay tuned. I have a special message from LifeWave. This one are the energy enhancement patches. So I think you're going to enjoy this because I actually I put on an energy patch, but it's a 2-patch system. So I only put one on and I was still energized. But then I found out that's why there was like a white one and yellow one. So you're supposed to put 2, but we'll find out. So see you later, Sherri. Bye.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
See ya.
Bye.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another exciting episode. Today, we have LifeWave brand partner Arthur Gross with us again today to discuss a fascinating product that's been making waves in the wellness and energy space in the life, and that is the LifeWave Energy Patch. Arthur, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Hi, James. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me back on.
Great, thank you. So let's dive right in. Tell us exactly what is the LifeWave Energy Patch and how does it work?
The LifeWave Energy Patch is a 2-patch system. It's a patch that you apply to the body, and it helps your body burn fat and turn it into energy.
Wow, that sounds incredible. So it's not like a supplement or something that enters the body.
That's correct, James. There's no drugs or anything that enters the body. Photobiomodulation is the process of light making change in the body. Much like the sun tells your body how to create vitamin D, the LifeWave patches do that with specific frequencies to bring on specific results.
That sounds fascinating. Can you share a bit about the science behind it?
Yes, there's been clinical studies done proving that the energy patch is to induce beta oxidation to burn fat and convert it into vital energy. There's more. It induces beta oxidation, increases ATP, cellular energy, engages natural energy field, improves clarity and motivation, supports physical activity, balances cognitive vitality, increases vital energy, supports metabolic function, supports homeostasis, and unblocks negative energy.
Wow, that sounds quite impressive. Can you give us an example of how we could, or how could I, or you, or someone, our listener, use one of these patches for best results?
Yes, I had a long drive from Florida to Houston, Texas last week, about a 12 to 14-hour drive. And I applied the energy patches that morning when I left Florida. And I went all the way to Houston. I didn't nod at the wheel. I didn't get tired or restless. I made it all the way to Houston. I wasn't worn out when I got there. I felt just fine. And then I wore them on the trip back and had the same result.
Great. So how would you apply them to your body?
You can use them in several places. It's a 2-patch system. That's what the envelope looks like. It is a tan patch and a white patch. There we go. You put the tan patch on the left and the white patch on the right. And you just peel it and stick it to your body. Left, tan on left, white on right. And you don't even have to stick it to your skin. You could actually stick it to your clothing. Sometimes when I'm on my feet all day, I'll stick them on the bottom of my feet. There's different pressure points in the directions where you can use. Sometimes you can put them on your elbows. You can put them on your lung one, on your chest up here. And basically, wherever you put them, it's going to move the energy through your body and create more energy naturally.
Well, that's amazing. So that's part of the reason why we're doing these interviews, because that's something that I didn't even know. I just grabbed one of those yellow patches and put it on me, and I had plenty of energy. So now I'm going to have to go use the white one new and see how it works.
It's a 2-patch system, and there's 15 of each in each sleeve.
Okay, thank you. So it's like, is it a natural energy boost without the crash that comes from caffeine or energy drinks?
That's exactly it. It's causing your body to burn fat and create vital energy naturally. There are no stimulants involved. The only thing going into your body is your own light reflecting from the patch.
Wow, absolutely. So Arthur, thank you so much for joining us today. There has been a very enlightening process in this conversation, and I'm sure our listeners enjoy this as well. So why don't you, let's just go ahead and wrap this episode up and stay tuned for more exciting conversations, optimizing your health and energy. So Arthur, any last final comments?
No, thank you very much, James. I appreciate you having me here.
All right. Until next time, take care, everyone. Bye-bye. Please consider supporting Super Soldier Talk by purchasing your own Neo Meditation device. Your Neo Meditation device will help you reduce stress, integrate trauma, enhance intuition, enhance clairvoyance, and enhance creativity. Get yours now at www.neologicaltech.com.